Good evening. This is David Dutton in the Stormwatch America Command Center in Atlanta. It's just after 10 o'clock, and we're live from Atlanta with continuing coverage of a severe weather event that occurred unfortunately, on this 4th of July day in Texas, where at least 13 people are confirmed dead and 23 girls are missing from a camp near the northwestern sections of San Antonio, where a catastrophic historical flood occurred during the overnight hours and into the morning and really throughout the early part of the day and continues at this hour. The scope of this historic event is still not known. It may take days. There are people missing, tents, mobile homes, cars, you name it. It went down the river, and they've been finding people dead and alive on trees. That's adults and children. Today, at least 12 helicopters went up into the air to look for people, that many drones as well. They had the skies full looking for people all day long. We're presumably, of course, the search is continuing at this hour, although maybe not at that extent. We're going to get a live update here any second now from the governor, who has just returned to the state. He was out of town when this was happening for the holiday, but rushed back to the state and is there now getting debriefed. And he is expected to make a news conference at 9 p.m. Central Time, which was just a few moments ago. So we'll expect that shortly. In the meantime, our live team coverage continues tonight as we go to station KABB, the Fox affiliate there in San Antonio, Texas.
Got there and less than a week into their simpler time stay, they get taken out by these floods. So this is all new information that we're getting on Camp Mystic right now as we kind of sit here and wait for Governor Abbott to come to the podium along with Kirk County officials. Latest numbers we have: 13 dead, 23 missing. We expect those numbers to change here in some form or another over the next couple of minutes. As soon as we get that briefing, as soon as Governor Abbott comes to the podium, we will take you live to Kerrville.
Yeah, and we have Jay Avila, who is with us right now, our reporter, to provide a little more context of the situation now that Governor Greg Abbott is in town and he is getting briefed on the situation. Jay, what have you learned so far? Good news that the governor is back here in Texas.
Jay, can you hear us?
Well, we are in the Hill Country Youth and Event Center. This is where all the briefings have been held so far today. And everyone that you've been talking about, Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Nim Kidd, and also... Yes, we're coming to you live from the Hill Country Youth and Event Center. If you're hearing us, you may have a little bit of a problem with the signal, but let me know, because we are in the bowels of a big building. But we are waiting for the governor and the other officials are in a room just on the other side of this wall. And so they're going to come out and give us a briefing. Also here, Nim Kidd, who is the Chief of Emergency Management for the state, along with local officials that we've heard from earlier today, like Sheriff Larry Letha. Also, the mayor, Joe Herring, mayor of Kerrville, Rob Kelly, who is the county judge in Kerr County, and also Clint Morris, who's the usual spokesperson for the sheriff's office here in Kerr County. And so they're right now having a kind of a private briefing. We were allowed to go in for a few moments. And mostly they were updating the governor and the lieutenant governor and state officials on the efforts to rescue people and the recovery efforts as well, bringing them up to speed on that. We weren't able to be in the room for very long, but catch the governor saying that essentially he would give them whatever they needed. And then we were ushered out here to this area where the news conference is going to take place. And so they've got everything set up behind us. And they're hoping to really coordinate things from this point forward, because they don't like to give out differing information when state officials are not on the scene, they're in a different place, and maybe they give out outdated information or information that conflicts with what local officials are hearing and seeing here. And that was the case earlier today when there was some confusion when the number of 6 fatalities was being given out still by state officials. And here at our briefing at 3 o'clock or 3:30 this afternoon, we were told by local officials at that time that they had 13 fatalities. And they made a note to say that the 13 fatalities had been located, not identified, because identification is something, of course, that can be more complex, especially in these conditions, and might take more time. So for the governor to be here along with other state officials, it not only presents obviously a united front that they want to show, but it also helps them coordinate things better, get their information more focused for us, so that there's not contradictions or problems with maybe misinformation that is a mistake. So we'll continue to wait here, and hopefully at the moment they'll come through the door and brief us and give us the latest information. For now, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Jay, thank you so much for all that information as we await Governor Greg Abbott to go ahead and give us an update. And again, like he was mentioning, they want to make sure they have all the facts correct and accurate before they get them out there, because of so much misinformation that is online, on social media. They want to make sure that what they have is all accurate, and then they're able to get that out there. But we want to, go back and all day today we have had reporters, team coverage, covering the devastating floods, the impact. And I know Joe DiCarlo, a meteorologist, he actually was out over at an RV park where he spoke with one resident that was impacted. Actually was able to go through the home and saw what it looked like from inside. So we're going to go to that right now.
Hey guys, we are here again in Kerrville, Waterfront Drive, right along the Guadalupe River, and we did meet a gentleman here. His name is Greg, and he offered us to show his house and what's unfortunately what's left of his house after the water this morning. As you can come inside here, you could see the complete devastation, the mud, the floodwaters, everything that's been completely moved throughout his entire home. Greg, if I could bring you in real quick, what was it like this morning? Can you explain kind of what you saw and what's left?
Woke up, saw brilliant lights flashing through the windows. Thought it was fireworks. Turns out it's the transformers going off, blowing up outside. Rain was just pouring down. And so I thought, well, I better look outside. I looked outside, and the water's up to my foundation of my house. And I've got a 5-foot tall foundation. It was terrifying. And by the time I got stuff together, got out to my car, I was going to back it out. I couldn't get it out. It would have floated. So
what did you do?
So I had just waited out to the high ground. And
you came back and
I called the people that I know in the neighborhood, said, get out now, because they're in this house and the 2 houses down. But anyway, it was quite terrifying.
And everyone or your whole family's okay?
Yes.
Were you the only one in this house at the time?
I was the only one in this house. That is correct. And the house next door, it's rented. I rented out to a pastor and his wife and kids, and they were in Memphis. So thank God they were out.
Thankfully. What's it like just seeing this happen to your house? I don't know about what's next. Right now, today is cleanup, but how does it make you feel about your neighborhood just changed kind of in a couple hours?
Just demolished, and you just have to roll with the punches and get in here, clean it up, cut the sheetrock so that it can dry out and get to work.
Thankfully, you're okay. Everyone you know is okay. So that's definitely the good news here. If we could just take, we could just take a few more little looks here. It is completely flooded.
Muddy. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and what you just saw was Joe DiCarlo walking through a resident's home, just seeing the aftermath of things. And actually, at one point, Joe earlier went up to the wall, and you could see the clear line of how high the water rose. It was about 3 feet. So to kind of put that into perspective, and that's that the home is kind of lifted up a couple feet as well. So I mean, those waters rose very quickly. Now we want to talk to you about some of the food banks that are stepping up to help flooding victims. The San Antonio and San Angelo food banks say they have deployed crews to assist as well. And if anybody needs assistance, you can call this number, 1-800-246-9121. Let me read it again. That way you can grab a paper if needed to write this down, 1-800-246-9121 if you are in need of assistance, any donations or food. The food banks say they will be monitoring calls throughout the holiday weekend to ensure people are provided help, which is big during this time when help is desperately needed. You know, so many people right now in need because they were not given any time to prepare, and so they just took off with the clothes on their back, and that's it. And so I know a lot of people right now are needing help, but crews have been working around the clock, air rescue missions all day long. Governor Greg Abbott posted this video to his X account earlier. You can actually see the first responder saving a woman who is clinging on for dear life to a tree. You can see her right there. She was carefully whisked away to safety. Just a scary situation, and shows just how incredible our first responders are at finding people and saving them. Abbott reiterating that the state's dedication to make sure everyone is safe and accounted for. And you can see that play out in this video. Helicopters have been coming and going, shuttling people as they find them. But we're still learning of the people that are out there that could be missing. I know that we are focused on the campgrounds and the campers that were in town, but there were also other areas surrounding the floodwaters that were also impacted, RV parks and campgrounds that people were coming into town for the 4th of July holiday to celebrate that were not from the area. And so loved ones are trying to get the information out there. And so if you have information on someone that you are looking for, please send it in to us. We've been on social media all day long. I've been responding to people. And so if you have any information that you think we need to get on air, please contact me on social media, Ashley Paredes. But the rain didn't just flood the hill country. This is video right here from San Angelo, where you're seeing rescue crews saving someone on a boat. And I do want to point out that first responders, of course, they are also putting themselves in danger to be able to help these people with the waters rushing this rapidly. At any point, that raft could flip. And so it really puts things into perspective of what they're walking into, the situations that they are up against, and we are very proud of them and the work that they've been doing around the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still sitting here waiting for Governor Abbott and the rest of the Kerr County officials who will be giving us a briefing. They're supposed to be about 15 minutes ago. Kerr County officials were supposed to give us a briefing about 7 o'clock, but decided to wait for Governor Abbott to get into Kerr County and into Kerrville. Let's go over to the chief, Alex Garcia.
Actually, we're just getting information that press conference is starting right now, so we're going to go to that. Governor Abbott speaking about the situation.
He should be coming up to the podium here at any second.
Yeah, and you can see right here, you know, law enforcement from across the state, you know, I mean, you have the sheriff's office, you have troopers, you have the National Guard was called in, federal and state resources, and you're seeing people coming in, walking in as this press conference is about to start. Of course, there is a little bit of a delay as you know, cell service is still spotty out there, Wi-Fi. Remember, because of the rain and all of that, a lot of people lost power. There were still about 3,000 without power when we last checked about an hour or so ago. But you're seeing different agencies walking in and out as we're awaiting the updates. And here's the governor coming in through that door. He was briefed as he was out of town earlier. Now he is back in Texas to give us the very latest.
The response has taken place here in the center part of Texas. And we need to continue to invoke God Almighty. The one thing I hear the most from really across the globe, prayers that are being sent for those who are in harm's way to be successfully rescued. Those who are giving thanksgiving to God right now because their family member has been located. Those who remain prayerful that their family member too will be found. This is a time when we as a state, we as a community need God more than ever. The kids off at camp, joyful, excited about the upcoming day to celebrate the 4th of July. Campers alongside the river, doing the same thing. One of the
Yeah, we're going to continue listening in to Governor Greg Abbott, of course,
from
with
waking.
some of the power outages still over in Kirk County. It's
We're not in harm's way,
a little hard to hear,
but
we're
went
staying
into
by.
harm's way to try to save the lives of others, but who lost their life. Up into
The internet issues.
robust response
We will re-air this
state
here
and
after
local
he's done.
governments
We will cut
and
it
by
together and
people
re-air it
who
in its
live
entirety,
in
which will
these
be a more
communities
clean
impacted by
version.
this. We had a
But we are
meeting with
going to
officials
continue
at the
listening
state
in
and local
despite
level,
the internet issues.
and there is extraordinary collaboration to make sure address Texas Task Force 1 and Texas Task Force 2. There are some of the best experts in the world at search and rescue missions. And know this, we remain in a search and rescue posture right now. So it's been going on over the course of the search and rescue missions. They will continue in the darkness of night. Taking place when the sun rises in the morning. They will be nonstop, seeking to find. The Texas National Guard has been a part of that process, and you'll hear the general in charge of that speak here soon, as well as that are involved in this process, as well as the Texas Division of Emergency Management. I have to be supporting them in their endeavors, whatever these communities need. The state of Texas is going to step up and provide it. But we know that what is needed and wanted the most, who are waiting, and as you will hear, we are working on strategies to deliver on that information that families are craving.
Yeah, we're still standing by.
Accordingly.
We're listening to
We
Governor
will
Greg
stop
Abbott.
at nothing to ensure that every asset and person and plane and whatever is needed is going to be involved in the process and ensure everybody involved in this is going to be fully accounted for. As a part of this, I'm signing a disaster declaration. The proclamation here that I'll sign, but I want to tell you in here, I'm declaring a
Unfortunately, this is coming from the TV station having problems getting the signal out.
the following counties: Bandera, Coke, Comal, Concho, Gillespie, Kendall, Kerr, Kimball, Llano, Mason, McCullough, Menard, Reed. Later are going to have access to every tool, strategy, personnel that the state of Texas can. We'll put in everything we have in the entire state. Someone
Dalton, who's our city manager, told us earlier that he was jogging at 3 in the morning along the river, and there wasn't a drop of rain falling. And within a few hours, about 26 feet, and actually it rose that quickly in about 45 minutes of those 2 hours. And since that first alert went out early this the sheriff immediately.
Okay, this is Channel 1 America, Stormwatch America's continuing coverage of severe weather. What we're going to do right is we're going to try to find another source for you here very quickly and see if we can, if it's just the station or if it's the signal coming out of the area there where the governor is. Let's switch over to WOAI, Channel 4 in San Antonio. You're watching continuing coverage of breaking news and severe weather on Channel 1 America and Stormwatch America.
We find every body, and the rescue continues that effort. We will not stop. And
unfortunately, it must be the signal coming out of the building that they're in right now.
message, hey, get down on your knees and pray for these families tonight and all these.
This is a another station
there's going to be other people who speak.
that we went
They
to.
do speak. I want to recognize a few others who will be involved in this process. One is the state representative from this area, West Riddell. Want you? State Senate District. And we have the Texas Parks and Wildlife Game Board. Thank you all for being a part of this process. And now I want Sheriff Letha.
Yes, Sheriff Larry Letha, Kirk County. What I like at this time, and we will continue to have them until we finish this mission. I want to tell you all that we will be working around the clock 24/7 until every person is found. What I can We're not going to be giving any names out at this time. We're still notifying next of kin. Also, I've been notified one fatality has been found in Kendall County. I cannot say it's related. During this time, we've got a lot of things going on. Y'all see what? There's a lot of people here. We have a lot of resources. We just need more time, and we're looking really into tomorrow through the next several.
We will get you information. As we get it, we will get it to you. We have briefings. We'll continue to keep updated.
Dated at this time. Mr. Mayor Herring.
I'm Joe Herring Jr. I'm mayor of the city of Kerrville. My job today is to tell people thank you. People from across the state have come to help. City, county, state, all working together, all working for the leaders. You are our heroes today. We will not stop. We will rescue the but I'd also ask, pray for our community.
Again, there is a problem with the signal coming out of the building where this news conference is happening right now. It has nothing to do with us or the affiliates that we're sharing with you. I went to another source and it's doing the same thing. So let's see if we can go back and hear something else.
Safe. I want the Director, Colonel Freeman Martin from the Texas Department of Public Safety to explain to you all the details about the lengths that DPS has gone through over just less than the past.
Hopefully, and maybe the TV stations are recording this, and maybe this can get played back here in a few moments. But we are just receiving word that the governor officials there are saying that 24 people are confirmed dead now in the Texas flooding. That is one more than what we had earlier. Again, well, actually a lot more than what we had earlier. Again, 24 confirmed fatalities as a result of this flooding here in Texas.
Helicopters with hoist capabilities, and that was just today. We have up in the morning, but we will not stop. In addition to the search and rescue, that's the priority right now. Moving forward, tomorrow we're going to bring people to help our partners here in Kerr County and HHSC. We have Parks and Wildlife here. They're providing. Today we Task Force 1, everybody working in support of our local partners. That's what right looks like. There are no egos here. There's nobody in charge. We're all working together. We're all communicating, and we will not stop until we find every last person. This is not, this won't end. Tomorrow is going to be a very important day. We had a hard time getting in this morning with the weather the way it was. So as the day went on, cover more. That will continue to marches en route. So with that, I'll turn it over to General Seltzer.
Good afternoon. As the governor has already said, he has ordered me that the Texas National Guard has to these local officials in this community. Today, we activated 5 helicopters with hoist to do rescue operations. They were paired with rescue swimmers from Texas Task Force 1. These crews trained together year-round just for this situation, and they were ready to respond.
The National Guard has been called into this area.
Using high-profile military vehicles to move evacuees out of high water areas to shelter. And 167 of those were by helicopter. So we're having a very good helicopter response. Our operations tomorrow will be sending personnel to help with evacuee shelter management and also can band evacuees to help get accountability of who's being evacuated into the shelters. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Thank you to the men and women of the Texas National Guard. And now, Nim Kidd, the Chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Governor. Our afternoon here in our state o'clock yesterday afternoon. The original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain and since yesterday, when the rain action alongside of our local partner. We have 100 experts from Texas A&M Task Force 1, officials and state partners that are responding here, boats and helicopters. I want to run Texas Task Force 1, that is third from Colonel Martin in the Texas Department of Public.
So apparently even the TV station went to the official, it looks like, website of the state, where they also provide a live broadcast of the news conference, and still getting the same raw and cut up signal there. Must be a bad signal transmission there from the building. And obviously Wi-Fi is shot in the area as well, so they may have something to do with it. But we are here in this area of where the flooding occurred. And the very latest headline that we have this hour is 24 confirmed dead. That's the very latest from the governor's office officially. 24 confirmed dead. We still don't have a clear, because of the reception that we're getting, a clear story about an update. Was what most people want to know on those 23 girls that are missing. Let's go back now and see if we can get some more information.
Of the U.S. Department of the Interior we need. Senator Cruz, they could provide. So this and wants to assist to accelerate the process. This to a very will continue to lean into.
No, we don't have an estimate. The problem was, and we do not know that number. Never changed. Right, we have not confirmed that yet. We're still working on it.
Partners were helping with that service forecast until well into the storm. Why would we need?
I'm going to give you a good example. Yeah, this I'm going to have the kind of in real life terms.
Okay, we're still getting a choppy signal on this. I do want to try to update you as best we can, as best as what we know out of this choppy news conference. 24 people are confirmed dead. That is confirmed from the governor's office in Texas there. And we're still trying to figure out more clear information on the 23 missing girls from Camp Mystic, Texas, and hopefully we'll get some new information on that here shortly. But what the TV station there has been able to gather is 24 are confirmed dead in the Texas flooding, unfortunately, that happened on this 4th of July in Kerr County, Texas, and the surrounding areas. This is an area just northwest of San Antonio. Let's go back now to station WAOI in San Antonio, see if we can get some more clear information. Do want to say also real quickly that the governor did sign a declaration of disaster that will be sent to President Trump immediately for the full use of the state and federal government to get more resources into this area. And we also understand now that the National Guard has been deployed to this area.
Further downstream, headwaters of the Guadalupe, there's a since 1987 under normal those areas, and those two forks will. This rain event sat on top of both of those forks. When we got on the South Fork, and within a matter of converged at the Guadalupe flood. So there's not alarms everywhere.
Sheriff, you said 24, right? 24, and that's just this county. We do have a.
This seems like it came on very. Ingram, who said their home was down the river. They asked.
Again, the choppy reception.
To the governor there. This says the audio wasn't the best there, but. Yeah.
Like anything with evacuation, do you evacuate and then put chaos on a road? This is the hill country for those. And if you
again, the reception is not from us nor the TV stations that we're following here. It's from the actual building where the news conference is being ongoing right now in the San Antonio area in Texas. And the governor is there. He was out of town today, but he rushed back to the scene and has been debriefed and is now holding a news conference at this late hour in the area. And the very latest breaking news that we have for you is 24 people confirmed dead. We still don't have a clear, precise, accurate description, new information on that everybody's wanting to know, with an update about the 23 girls missing from Camp Mystic. We're still working to find out more on that and get clear information.
Yes, that's the only one.
And again, the signal seems to go from bad to worse. So we're going to continue here and let you know that the governor has signed an emergency declaration that will be sent immediately to President Trump. All local, state, and federal, anything that they have that can help in this situation will now occur. And we also understand that the National Guard has been deployed to the area.
West, you know, on our east side, we didn't have any this flooding.
And again, probably
We're about 30 miles from.
probably the worst audio I've ever seen out of a news conference. But mind you, this is in an area that was hit hard. In this immediate ground zero, if you will, is Kerr County, Texas. This is just northwest of San Antonio. And a lot of these camps have reported that they have no power, no Wi-Fi, no anything. It's a complete disaster at Camp Mystic right now. There's over 700 girls there, and we do understand that most of them are accounted for. There's 23 of them missing. The very latest accurate information that we have from officials at Camp Mystic via the affiliates that we've been bringing you today. And but we don't have a new update as of this news conference. We're working to learn more. Because of the choppy reception coming out of this news conference, we hope that we can get some new information from the news stations as a news release maybe will be released, and we'll have more on that. But we do know for sure that 24 people, it was 13, now it's 24 people confirmed dead in the floodings there in the San Antonio area, just northwest of there in Texas.
National Weather Service, right? It did not predict the amount of rain that we saw.
What were you warning like now in terms of?
Looking at, they were warning 3 to 6 inches higher than that, which caused us to in case, and those were put immediately into. They were already. Yes, sir. Great question. Rescue teams as well as military high theater, but not directly in theater. Professionals from San Antonio and Austin that train mission every day. They got here at noon yesterday. Yes, sir. How fast they got caught up in it. They were in the middle of it. They were. No, sir.
How did you do this? Are you getting up for some of the kids we've had missing? What was your
Is blown up. In first, Chief Kidd, the other leaders were we. Course of the early morning hours, people that we know well. This is in 20 years, and we know the and we have a lot of friends involved in fellow Texans who have and that spurred us into every stone to make sure every Texan is going to be
as much as we can talk about it, can you, and again, where they can get the resources specifically that they can go to for resources?
It can,
If it comes back here in a minute, we do apologize for the audio issues. There's just we know is that they have confirmed 24. They put out a lot of information. Is still being notified. So the out of Kendall County related to the flooding.
Some of the other information shared, 167 of them by helicopter, accounted for over at Camp Mystic, of course. At that camp, one of the questions that was asked, being addressed, is how many people
at the city for volunteer and donations, and they can in this part right now can cause a. I really need all of your help. Our partners at the city for volunteer and donations, and they can give you those websites put out in a little while. In this part can cause additional issues of flash flooding, and so this is where I really need all of your help. Tell the people that don't live here and don't have family here and don't have family that are missing not to come here. Do not come in this area and start looking around. We had people that were blocking bridges today while we had emergency response vehicles trying to get out and do rescues. So if you don't live in this area and you're not personally involved in this response, don't come to Kerrville, Texas right now. That's part number one. Part number two is if you do have someone that is missing, the city will be putting information out, and we want you to report that back in. So I want to add on to your
have been governor. We've had weather events that were completely unpredictable, and that's just a part of nature.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
Okay, that's the very latest from the governor there, Governor Greg Abbott, the state of Texas. The audio difficulties were from that press conference. It wasn't from us or the TV stations there, but we are going to continue to bring you continuing coverage of this live event now.
They really just talked about all of the resources being.
I shop online all the time, but last week I got an email that.
He just talked about all of the resources being poured into this area to make sure that families get their questions answered about where their loved ones are. We know that 25 people at this point have been confirmed dead. One of those fatalities was in Kendall County. We did hear from the Kerr County Sheriff there say that they can't confirm at this point if that death in Kendall County is specifically related to what happened in the greater Kerrville Hill Country area. But that is an increase from what we heard at 3:30, where at that time 13 people had been reported dead. We did not know, out of that 25, that latest update tonight just a few minutes ago, we do not know how many of those are adults. We do not know how many of those are children, but we did hear from the sheriff that he cannot confirm that all accounted for have been reunified with their families at this point.
The other thing that really stuck out to me during that news conference is that it's a question that we've had throughout the day. It's very important that leaders and that we all know exactly how many people are missing. Unfortunately, even at this hour, I mean, we're talking 19 hours after this, essentially. They still don't have an estimate on the number of people who are missing or unaccounted for, which obviously makes things a lot more difficult. The other thing that the Texas National Guard said was that it rescued or evacuated 237 people, 167 of them by helicopter. And, you know, when you were looking along that table, that wide shot, all of the people who were there giving us an update, these are all people who right now are involved in this search and rescue effort. The Texas Division of Emergency Management, game warden, the game wardens there from Texas Parks and Wildlife, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas National Guard. We also know that crews from Texas Task Force 1 and Texas Task Force 2 are involved in the search and rescue mission. I mean, these are people who are divers that are very highly trained, who are able to go into rough water to be able to pull people out. So really, no resource has been spared when it comes to this. But you heard one official there saying that there are a lot of people who are watching this and they're probably thinking, okay, should I go in to help? Please don't, because what he was saying was that earlier today there were so many people out that they were blocking emergency responders from bridges and everything like that. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that we heard from officials there say that they don't know an estimate or are not sharing an estimate right now, don't have one about how many people are still missing or unaccounted for. You know, he echoed something we've been talking about a lot here today, that there are so many more people in this area, so many more people on the Guadalupe River yesterday, today, plan to be there now because of the July 4th holiday. So there's a lot of people that are not from that immediate area that flocked to the Guadalupe, homes, camping along the river, just to celebrate this holiday weekend. So, you know, I did hear several state officials there asking people for prayers, saying, you know, this is a time when the phrase we hear so often, thoughts and prayers, we heard the Lieutenant Governor say, this is not a thoughts and prayers message, but a get down on your knees and pray. And Nim Kidd, who is the head of the Texas Division of Emergency Management, he talked about how prayers are rooted in action tonight, all the things that you mentioned, with all the resources being called in, additional helicopters on the way tonight to continue those rescues, and just that, you know, that message that no resource is being spared and that they will continue to have as many people in the area as possible until every single person is found and hopefully is reunified with their families.
And it's not like this search and rescue effort is stopping, even though it is dark outside. Hundreds and hundreds of resources, and I believe at one point they were talking about 1,000 people involved in different ways in the search and rescue operation. That's a number that has obviously been raised from 500 just a few hours ago. But when we're talking about a lot of the helicopters that have been deployed to that area, some of them have thermal imaging, which is something, a technology that you would use. So because if there's anybody in the water or anywhere below,
in brush, in trees,
anywhere,
anything we have heard stories of people clinging to, that would be a tool to help find.
Right, it would pick up the heat, the body heat from that person. That's the technology, and so they're going to be flying those helicopters throughout the night. And you were just talking about what the governor had said, and I just think it's powerful words right now, because we're looking to him and other state leaders for comfort, because there are so many questions, so many people that we're still waiting to hear on. He said, we need to continue to invoke God Almighty. He said so many people have been swept up into an extraordinary catastrophe, and there was one quote that he said, and he said, we need God, but we also need robust response from the state, and obviously that's something that he's delivering on right now.
We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I do want to mention that we heard that first responders have been in touch with 18 camps that are in and around that area along the Guadalupe River. Camp Mystic is the one that seems to have been affected greatly by this. They did tell us that still 23 to 25 campers from Camp Mystic remain unaccounted for tonight. Darkness certainly complicates the effort, but it is one that is continuing to rescue as many people, adults, children, anyone who is affected by this as possible. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay, that's the very latest from KSAT there. We just learned that the 23 girls that were missing from Camp Mystic, unfortunately tonight, are missing. And that is the very latest on them. That was the big update that I was searching for in this. Unfortunately, the death toll has risen now to 24. That's anybody that was in the area at the time of the flood. 24 confirmed dead now from the governor's office in the state of Texas as a result of this catastrophic flooding today. And we also, again, we just received an update of the 23 girls from Camp Mystic that were missing. So there is a lot of heartache, a lot of horror that happened on this 4th of July in the San Antonio, Texas area. And for more on this continuing story, let's go back now to KSAT in the San Antonio area.
From the river gauges about every 15 minutes and at least every 30 minutes. I haven't gotten a report since 9 p.m. I can't find the report. I'm not sure what the situation is, but I know it is significantly and quickly rising at Spring Branch, and that's this area right here north of Bulverde, between Blanco and Bulverde, 281, Spring Branch. Let me move the curve. I need to put it back full screen for you. This is the hydrograph for the Guadalupe River near Spring Branch. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Pop it full screen. And look at this little gap in the data here. The last read.
Okay, something happened to their signal, so having a lot of signal problems coming out of this area tonight. And let's see, it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock Central Time. We're live from Atlanta with continuing coverage of breaking news and weather. An historic catastrophic flooding has occurred in San Antonio tonight, where we understand that at least 24 people are confirmed dead. 23 girls are still missing from Camp Mystic as a occurred on this northwest of San Antonio, Texas. We understand the National Guard has been called into the area, and the Governor Abbott, as you heard there moments ago, in a very choppy news conference. The audio was horrible, but we did learn the very latest from there. The death toll went from 13 to 24, unfortunately, and expected to go higher. And the 23 girls that were missing from Camp Mystic are still missing at this hour. So no really good news coming out of that news conference tonight. The governor has declared a state of emergency, which is being sent to President Trump at this hour, and to get federal aid in the area. All regional and state aid is already in the area, and search and rescue, we understand, continuing at this hour. However, on a slightly bit lower scale, obviously because it is dark, full search and rescue will resume at first daylight with the helicopters and drones. We have some pictures that are coming in right now to the...
Retire if you mastered these AI tools.
Teenagers are building businesses.
Apologize for that. We have some pictures that are coming in right now of the some of the missing from Camp Mystic, and hopefully they'll show them here in a moment. Let's go over to station KABB as our coverage continues tonight from the San Antonio area of Texas.
Was by the Brake family shows the destruction floodwater at the HDR campground and RV park in Kerrville.
They don't travel a whole bunch outside of Abilene. They really just had traveled down to Kerrville for the 4th of July to be able to spend the weekend with my uncle.
Ryan Brake's grandparents, Robert Leroy and Joni K. Brake, were visiting Kerrville for the first time.
Huge family people, huge Notre Dame fans. That was a routine for them, was college football. Last time I was able to talk to them myself was last Thursday on my birthday. I had called them and they had just wished me happy birthday and told me that they had planned on coming down soon.
Brake's grandparents were staying in a cabin at the RV park. Around 4:45 this morning, Ryan got a phone call from his uncle.
The call was very short, but very drastic. He basically stated that he needed help.
Brake says floodwater was already up to the edge of his uncle's RV.
The cabin that my grandparents were staying in were about 20 yards from the RV that they were in. As soon as we got the phone with him, we immediately called my grandparents. After about 3 or 4 phone calls, we were able to get in touch with them and woke them up.
Brake's uncle and his wife were able to get out of their RV and get to safety, but his grandparents are still missing.
The last time we heard from them was about 4:50, about 5 o'clock this morning.
Relatives in the area have been searching nonstop for Brake's grandparents.
I know we are not the only ones going through the situation. We'll continue to spend several days, if not weeks, up there until we can get some kind of answer. Whether it's good or bad, I think we really just want some kind of answer.
Zach Hedrick, Fox SA.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. And among some of the other people that have now been confirmed dead, a camp director named Jane Ragsdale, Heart of the Hills camp director, that was one of the 24 that were confirmed dead, and people just devastated by this news and all the others. I do want to point out Zach's story on that RV park. At that location, not just that couple that is missing, but others as well. I've been looking online and following, and there are many people that are missing that came in from out of town, were staying at that RV park, whether it was in an RV or they were camping, and they are still unaccounted for. So just keep an eye out because there could be many more that are still missing that aren't in that total count right now, because the 23 to 25 that authorities are saying, that is specifically when it comes to Camp Mystic. There might be many more missing and unaccounted for when you're looking at the general public and everybody else in that area.
And guys, I think we have Joe DiCarlo here ready to go. He just let us know that he is ready to roll, and he is, I see his live shot up. So let's send it over to Joe DiCarlo right now. He is still live out there in Kerrville. Joe, what's going on?
Hey Matt, hey Ashley. Yeah, I just want to step out of the frame real quick because you see here a few steps. This was the front porch of what was only 24 hours ago a home with a family of 4 inside, and we did talk to a family member of the family that was here, and unfortunately, at least as of a few hours ago when we were talking with them, 3 of the 4 are still missing: a mom, a dad, and a baby. There was an older boy, likely teenager age or so, that they did recover down the river as this home was swept off its foundation. He was clinging to a tree, and he is now currently in the hospital, but still 3 out of the 4, as of at least a few hours ago, are still missing. So it's been a devastating throughout the entire day. It's been a devastating day here in Kerrville. We've been here along Waterfront Drive throughout the day. We've been talking to neighbors. There's been community members that have come out, and it's not just this home. There was another home also to my right that was also completely taken off its foundation, and we also have the home over here to my left damaged as well. And really all the homes on Waterfront Drive were damaged in some ways. These 3 were completely moved off their foundation. Down the road a little bit, we talked with a homeowner. His name was Gary. His home was not completely taken off its foundation because he had a 5-foot foundation that held steady during the flood. But he was talking to us about his experience. He showed us around his house, what was left of it, and also the mud, the water. He said the water rose about 4 to 5 feet inside his home. He was the only one inside the home at the time, and he was able to get out, get to higher ground as the flood came in. But he said he was woken up during the overnight period. It sounded like fireworks going off, but it was a transformer that was blowing in the river when the flood came in. Throughout the day, we've seen Texas DPS helicopters, we've seen Border Patrol helicopters, we've seen Kerrville Fire and Rescue, we've had multiple different police departments out here as well. We've seen Bernie PD, Fredericksburg PD, we've seen community members from Llano, Marble Falls, obviously Kerrville, that have come and just tried to lift, lend a helping hand to the community out here. Everybody wants to help. Law enforcement, though, does stress that this is still an active scene, ongoing. We've seen the helicopters, the boats going throughout the day, and they want to stress that monetary donations are helpful at the moment. Getting out here and actually helping the people here along the Guadalupe River and Kerrville and the entire community. It's going to be in the weeks and months to come once the active search and rescue is over. So this is not just a today event. This is going to be, we're going to be covering this through the weekend, likely weeks and months to come as Kerrville will rebuild. Again, everyone we talk to are resilient. They're going to rebuild. They love this community. They love living here, and they are going to be stronger together. And we've seen that today, but it's definitely a tough day in the Texas Hill Country.
Yeah.
Send it back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, for providing perspective on the situation. We appreciate it. Again, I want to go back to talking a little bit about the press conference we just heard. Governor Greg Abbott addressed the situation, now learned that 24 have been confirmed dead. 237 were rescued, 167 of those by helicopter, and then 23 to 25 unaccounted for when it comes to Camp Mystic. But they could not provide any more information about missing and unaccounted when you're looking at everybody else. And we are learning from others saying that there are other people that are missing out there, and that's why the governor is saying they are going to be nonstop and has issued a disaster declaration. What that order means is it expedites state funding and providing resources to all of the counties impacted, which includes all of those surrounding the Hill Country, Kerr County, Kendall County. That way they can get resources as soon as possible.
And we have another one of our reporters out live now. Fox SA's Destiny Fuller has been out there all night long, all day long. Destiny, what's the latest out there from Kerrville?
Yeah, Matt, Ashley, we've lost a lot of visibility out here because there just aren't that many streetlights. We've moved a little bit further up, but this is still closed off. And even though I'm not able to give you as good of a look as I could earlier, just past this caution tape, the water was basically here. People were up here looking at it earlier before that water had receded back into what is now what's left of the riverbed. But ever since that clock has kind of continued going and we've gotten a couple of hours further into this, we've spoken to a lot of neighbors who live in this area, who own property in this area, and we're hearing the same devastating stories. People carrying multiple children, waking up in the middle of the night, having to swim, thinking that they had enough time before ultimately floodwaters either pushed them further than they would have liked to gone. And a lot of these people are still traumatized. We spoke to a woman earlier today at the very end of this complex, and she sat there and she just looked at me for a minute, and she said that her family has owned land here for 100 years and it's forever changed. These people don't know how they're going to rebuild, and they really don't even know where to start. A heartbreaking thing that we've also heard today from the manager here at the Blue Oak RV Park is that she actually had to close all of this off, not only for safety purposes, but because there's been looters out here. And that's something that we've also heard from other people, is they've noticed that as belongings start to wash up, people are picking through them. They're asking people to just stay out of this area if you don't need to, for safety reasons first and foremost, but to give these people some time to rebuild. Matt?
Yes, Neil, thank you so much for that. Tonight we also learned, we told you a little bit earlier about Jane Ragsdale. We've learned that she is one of the 24 flooding victims and was a director of a local camp. Jane Ragsdale was a beloved leader of the Heart of the Hills camp.
Yeah, our thoughts go out to her friends and family. According to the Kerrville Daily Times, she was a counselor at the camp. in the 1970s before becoming the director in 1988.
Yeah, according to the camp's Facebook page, Jane was awarded multiple national awards and recognitions for her work with the camp. One of our viewers we spoke with who knew Jane personally says Jane was the epitome of kindness and joy.
Jane was just incredible. She was a bright light. She was the epitome of kindness and joy. If you look at any pictures of her, you can see that in her. She's just such a bright light. Her passing will be felt throughout the state.
Camp officials say their camp was not in session when heavy rain rolled in. They say everyone else who was on site today has been accounted for.
Yeah, and I think right now we're going to go over to Emma Allen, who is at the live desk. She's been bringing us updates, but first let's mention some of the camps that were in the middle of where this flooding hit. That includes Camp Mystic, Camp La Junta, and Camp Waldemar. So those...
Well, back at the live desk, reports are still coming in tonight about people being missing from this devastating flood. We know that Ashley just was talking about Camp Mystic, and we want to continue to show you those images. We put together a collage for you there. Officials say rescue missions will continue all night long. We continue to confirm details with family members. I've been on the phone personally calling some family members. I spoke to Kelly Ann's dad earlier, who was devastated by this. He asked that people pray for his daughter, as well as these girls and the first responders that are out there working all around the clock to bring these people back home. We do know that at the press conference we were told that anywhere between 23 to 25 girls are still missing from Camp Mystic, some in that picture right now. Some cabins we have been hearing consistently that some of those missing girls were staying in were Twins 1, Twins 2, and Bubble Inn. And of course, you know, we just had that press conference, but we're continuing to monitor social media and any other outlets that we can to see, you know, what is the latest. We're waiting on more updates and more details from officials.
Thank you, and we want to continue to show you those images that we have received from viewers of not only the missing people, but as well as flooding video from all throughout today. So viewers just constantly sending in what they were up against, what they saw personally, just to show you the wide-scale impact of the devastation from this flooding that rapidly took over. Again, Guadalupe River surged about 30 feet, 22 feet in about 30 minutes. I mean, just imagine, right, waking up to this in the middle of the night. Some people awoken by the floodwaters already halfway in through their home, filling up, and they just had to go. Some others, you know, were alerted by first responders, flashing their lights, yelling, but it really took an effort of people helping people in that community. There's also now a lot more help that's going to be coming on the state and federal level now that there is a disaster declaration that was made for several counties in the Hill Country by Governor Abbott now that he is back in Texas. And again, 24 now confirmed dead. That is far more than we had originally predicted and mentioned earlier in the newscast. And so it's just heartbreaking to see that number go up, and it's expected to go up even more as the hours go on.
Yeah, we're going to continue to rehash what we heard in the press conference that just happened, just wrapped up about a half hour ago, but we do want to show you one more time the 10 girls pictures that we have right now. There is at least 23 girls missing still from Camp Mystic, but right now we have pictures of these 10. So this is Lainey Landry up on your upper left. I'm going to start on the upper left and continue right, and then we'll go down to Ella Cahill at the bottom. So that's Lainey Landry up at the upper left, Janie Hunt, Virginia Hollis, Kellyanne Lytle, Mary Grace Baker, Ella Cahill, Aiden Hartfield. Obviously he was not at the Camp Mystic because that is a girls only, but he is also missing. Joyce Baden, Reese Menchaca, and Linny McCown right there. is the last one. So if you have any information, we should have all those numbers over on our website, or some of the numbers are right there on your screen right there. So if you do want to screenshot that or take a picture of that, go right ahead. We'll leave it up for a couple more seconds. If you do have any information, these parents of these children are desperately seeking your help. However, it is worth noting that in the press conference from the governor and Kerr County officials, if you do not have loved ones in the area up in Kerr County, they are urging everybody not to go there. If you are not involved directly or do not have loved ones in the area, do not go up to Kerrville or to Kerr County right now. They have so many people up there and so many resources searching for so many people that they just kind of need everyone to relax and stay out of the area unless you are directly involved in that.
Yeah, and I've been in touch with some family members, and it's just so heartbreaking to be getting these texts and trying to see what we could do to provide some help, and that's sharing information, sharing photos as they come in. I actually sent over to one of our producers 2 other photos of girls that are missing. They actually came in from Dallas, but were part of the Camp Mystic group that was out there, and so we're going to get those photos up for you here shortly. But just talking about them specifically, their parents came down from Dallas as soon as they heard what was going on, and they're just worried and besides themselves and trying to get the information out there. Another woman telling me that their daughter Hadley, 8 years old, is also missing. We're going to work on getting that photo for you. Of course, we're asking family members before we put images up if we are able to share them. And so we're getting permission one by one of these children. That way we can put their photos out there and share them with the public. So if anybody sees them, that they call for help. But I think we now have Jay Avila, who was there during the press conference with the governor. And we're going to try to go to him.
We're going to try to go to him momentarily. He's about to call in for us. For right now, let's go to Alex first before we get Jay. Alex,
when people were asleep,
we've been kind of going over what's happening tonight, but I think we should start at the beginning here. For people who are just tuning in, obviously there's 24 people dead, at least 23 young campers are missing. What happened? Well, how did we get this kind of perfect storm of events that led to everything that we've been talking about for the last 17, 18 hours now?
Well, it actually goes back a couple of weeks when we had all that tropical moisture move in from the Gulf. That was part of the catalyst that got things going. It really infused the atmosphere with a tremendous amount of moisture. Then we had that Pacific system that started up. That also came into the region. So now we've got an atmosphere that's primed and ready to go. It just needs a little bit of a triggering mechanism to kind of make it rain. When we were looking at precipitable water, which tells us how much water is in the air, it was 2 inches plus. That's way above the normal that we have around this region for this time of the year. The triggering mechanism, a little bit of an upper level low or a mid-level low as we might call it, that was enough of a little spin, and you could see it in the radar. That little spin actually made air rise and provided enough little lift, enough disturbances in the air to create the rain. And it created it in waves so that we were watching it last night, and it was starting right up into this region. You could see the waves of rain starting to move up, particularly back up from Utopia all the way up into Kerrville, back up into Bernie. And so we watched that rain last night. And once that starts raining, we start looking at how much each one of these little cells is raining, what the intensity is. And we were getting some intense numbers from those things. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. I mean, it was 2 to 5 inches really quick in some spots because these storms were passing over the same region over and over again. And boy, it was really dropping the rain. And so that's kind of what started it all. And before you knew it, we were looking at an intense number of inches of rain that was coming down, particularly between the 3 and 5 o'clock hour. And that's when the flooding really began. We could see the Guadalupe River starting to rise. It was going up rather quickly, 30 feet in 45 minutes. We were looking at a 22-foot rise in about 30 minutes. So we knew that things were turning bad really, really fast. Early in the morning, starting as early as around 1 or 2 o'clock, we could already see the beginnings of this thing really starting to get a little bit on the outside of where things were normally. So then we got all that rain, and now we're looking at this. it's left over. The main little triggering mechanism has skirted all the way back on up to the north and kind of dissipated. The only little strong cell we're looking at is right up here, just out near Georgetown, with most of the rest of the area just some light rain. The stronger storm, again, will likely track right up into this region here, which will go north of Lake Wave back up into Austin, might make it over into Elgin. Now, the big story is, what are we going to be looking at for here? Well, right now, we still have that flash flood warning. That's going up until midnight, and that's mainly because of the water going downstream yet. It still hasn't hit Spring Branch. And we were looking at the Spring Branch gauge, and it seems to have stuck. It hasn't given us a reading for a while. It's telling me 1.7 feet. I don't think so. I think we're going to be looking at a big change here, at least before midnight, because there's a lot of water coming down. So maybe some debris hit the gauge, maybe the gauge is out, but we did look at a prediction, and we did look at the forecast for the rain pushing down that water getting into Spring Branch. By midnight, it should be up to near 27 to 28 feet. So that's what we're looking at coming our way tonight in our local region. Now, when we look at tomorrow, that's another story. You see what's happening. The moisture still in the air, heat still available for tomorrow. We're going to see some scattered to widely scattered showers. They're going to be around in the morning. We'll see a few of them start right about 10 o'clock. It ramps up quickly around noon and then starts to drop off by 3 o'clock. So you've got another little time window when you could see rain. And again, the bigger story is, where is it coming from and how much is it going to fall? I want to show you what meteorologists look like. This is what we're looking at. This is one model we run in-house. Look at that. It's telling me 1.4. It's telling me 2.72 over here. If I just go with that one model, that's the number I'm using. But if I go back and look at other models that are out there, and that's what we do, here's the next model. That's telling me 1.5 inches of rain, no rain here, 1 inch up here, 3 inches back up to the north. Maybe that one's right, huh? How about this one? Here's still another one. That's just a little over 1/2 inch, about 1/2 inch here, a little over 1/2 inch, no rain here and no rain here. So that's what we're looking at when we're looking at computer models. We're looking more for trends. We're looking more for what's really happening right now, and that's why we break it down and we kind of want to figure out what's going on. So what I'm thinking tomorrow, we'll see some light rain across the area. We could see 1/2 inch of rain at best, maybe some up to the north, maybe across. We've got that little window, so it's just going to happen within that little bitty window of time.
And, you know, it's just heartbreaking to hear all of the details of how we got to this point. You know, but now we're going to go ahead and check in with Phil Sterling, who has been out there all day long. Earlier this morning, actually was in some danger himself. If you can kind of walk us through those moments of when you got caught up in some of the floodwaters, Phil.
I mean, earlier in the day when I was here, we were on our way here to Ingram. We were on Goat Creek Road. Eventually we went down to the actual creek, which is usually a few inches. It rose by feet within minutes, and when we looked behind us, there was a wall of water coming. We had to drive through it before we took a left turn, made it up a hill, and waded out that water. But I'm here at Ingram High School, where if you look behind me, the activity is a lot slower. Earlier in the day, there were Blackhawks that were dropping off mostly young girls here to the high school, and they were actually getting off and on buses. Now there's much less emergency personnel. If you could, when you look at it right now, we heard from one source that has a friend with a child in a camp that told us that Camp Majestic, or what am I saying? Camp Mystic, sorry about that. Camp Mystic is mostly, is an all girls camp, and that is one of the connections that, that is very interesting about this, about these girls getting here to this high school. I want to take over here now. If you look over to my left, those girls, once they got on buses, we were told that those girls actually made it to Ingram Elementary School. At Ingram Elementary School, they would be dropped off to their parents. And when we made it to that elementary school earlier in the day, we were actually there before we came here, there were dozens of people. There was nowhere to park. But we eventually made it to this area here. And besides just the Blackhawks landing here with the girls, there was also emergency service personnel that were just constantly going down this road, which goes to Hunt, and which goes to people that were trapped in that town. Phil Sterling reporting live. Fox SA.
Right in the middle of it, when we were seeing the girls being loaded onto buses, is that still going on? A lot of first responders kind of helping evacuate people from the area?
Are we good?
All right, it doesn't seem that Phil can hear us now. We do have Jay Avila here coming up soon. We're able to see him. We'll toss right to
Mic
Jay.
check, mic
who
check.
was just at there he is. He was just listening to the governor. He was in the same room as the governor's press conference. So we're going to send it out to Jay Avila out in Kerr County right now. Jay, what's the latest and what you've learned from the governor, from that press conference that we just heard, and what were kind of the key points that we should all be touching on after that presser?
Well, obviously, the news that really struck everyone was, of course, the death toll going up to 24 here in the Kerrville area, up from when it had been at 13 for most of the day. The sheriff here also added that there is another death in Kendall County, and they're working to determine if that is related to this flooding event. I asked the question to the governor and to the local officials if there was any estimate on how many people are missing or unaccounted for that they're looking for. And the answer was no, because it's so overwhelming how many people are here either camping, on vacation, or for the holiday, fishing trips, things like that. They just don't know. They can't operate from knowing a number of how many people they're looking for. What they were able to tell us, though, was that 237 people have been rescued or evacuated so far. 167 of those were taken out by helicopter, and we saw a lot of helicopter activity, Black Hawks and emergency helicopters flying around all day long. One other question that came up was having to do with whether we were prepared. Why did this sneak up on us in this way? And that answer went to Nim Kidd, who's the Chief of Emergency Management for the state. He said that the National Weather Service yesterday was forecasting 4 to 6 inches of rain, and that's what they were expecting. So they didn't expect as much as 10 inches falling, but it was enough to where they did stage different resources in the area around Kerr County. These were things like swiftwater rescue teams from San Antonio and Austin. Also, military high-profile vehicles. They were in the area and ready to jump into action, but they did not expect that much rain. Another person who was speaking was the city manager from here in Kerrville, who talked about how he was at 3 a.m. in the morning walking up and down the Guadalupe River to see what it looked like. And he said even at that point, at 3 in the morning, the rain was not hard, the river didn't look threatening, and then yet within an hour to an hour and a half after that, the rain came down so hard that it was all of a sudden causing all of the damage and all of these campsites to be overrun. They said that they have checked 18 camps. This is an area of the hill country where there are so many camps and RV sites, and they have checked all of those. And of course, everyone has been asking about Camp Mystic in Hunt, where the figure didn't change much, but went from 23 to a possible 23 to 25 unaccounted for people. As you've been talking about, very tragic. These are young girls staying at this camp, but everyone said they're determined to work 24/7 with all the resources that the state can bring to bear until they find the very last person. The mayor of Kerrville kind of summed it up at the end, saying, pray for our community. Back to you.
Jay, I want to hold on to you just for a second here. I heard you ask during the press conference, it was a little hit or miss here, the feed was a little off, but I heard you ask about the alarms and the alerts that are kind of along the Guadalupe River that were installed back in the 80s. What did they have to say about why they don't have more of an alert system about flooding out there in Kerrville and Kerr County?
Well, basically their explanation was, yes, there were some flooding alarms that were put in after the 1987 flood, but they're not everywhere up and down the Guadalupe. In fact, there are large gaps, and the city manager here in Kerrville said that there weren't any in the area where the river really became heavy. He talked about how there's a spot in Kerrville where two forks come together, and it's very rare to get a ton of rain feeding into both those forks at the same time to where they combine and just have this immense influx of water. But that's what happened, something that's very rare. And so he didn't get into detail about where exactly those flood alarms are and whether they're still functional after all these years. But he did say that that the ones that he knew of were further down, closer to Comfort, and there were no signals or alarms that went off to help them in that way. So that's still an issue that needs to be delved into more. We'll certainly be asking more about it in the coming days.
Yeah, Jay, we talked about the 23 to 25 that are still unaccounted for at Camp Mystic. But I think there was a question also that you had there during the press conference, just asking in general how many are still for missing, and there wasn't really a clear answer as to that.
No, and that's what's so chilling is that in so many of these situations, emergency crews have some kind of idea of how many people they're looking for, but it's just not possible here. This is such a great recreational area. The timing of it couldn't be worse on Independence Day when so many people are taking the day off, even for a day trip out to the river. And this is just an area that has so many people. They don't check in with anyone, with the city or with the local parks or anything. They're just recreating there, and so there's no way to really quantify how many people could have been affected. And I was just thinking about, we were stationed next to the Guadalupe River for a couple of hours today, and we had so many helicopters passing overhead. In one case with somebody hanging out of the door looking at the banks and at the water. It's really all they have right now is just to search from the air as much as they can, use those vehicles. They have something like 167 off-road vehicles here to try and search every square inch, and that is really a task.
Jay Avila, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for coming on such short notice. You've done a great job with the coverage today, and one of the best investigative reporters in the business. Jay, thanks so much.
Definitely. And we're going to try and go right now to a quick package from Zach Hedrick here in a little bit. But I do want to show you, before we wrap up for the night, these two little girls. We got information earlier. I was speaking with the families of Eloise Peck and Lila Bonner. These two young girls, part of Camp Mystic, coming in from Dallas, staying there along the camp right by Guadalupe River. The parents have not been able to get a hold of their daughters. They came into town from Dallas. This is just heartbreaking. They are waiting for answers. Now that they're in town, they're trying to put the information out there, put their photos out there. That way, if anybody sees them, they can call authorities for help. I know we also have this little girl, Hannah, Hadley Hannah, 8 years old, and her mother also we spoke with. She contacted us and just saying that her father right now in town searching with crews out searching for her. They are just besides themselves, and they don't know what else to do, right? They are just waiting, and during that waiting period, it is just hard and devastating, and so they are trying to get out the information on their daughter, who is 8 years old, along with all the others. But right now, we're going to go ahead and check back in with Alex on the latest weather conditions. I know things have died down, but before we wrap up for the night, I think a lot of people on their mind, they are thinking, is there going to be any other rain event that we can see overnight? Because like we heard from authorities, the river has already swelled, right? So anything else, even just an inch or two, can mean another devastating event.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any big, huge amounts of rain, particularly the river is. But the big thing is tonight, and we're going to have to watch it, is the downstream swell, that big wave that's still coming down the Guadalupe. It's headed over to Spring Branch. Likely will arrive around 3 o'clock in the morning, could be as high as 38 feet there. So that's the only thing that we're really watching for at this point. And we talked about the rain coming up for tomorrow. I'm just going to zip through these graphics really quick and show you that. There's model number 1. Notice there's San Antonio. It's putting the rain a little bit further back over. There's model 2, putting in a little bit of rain there, a ½ inch, and model 3 putting in about a 1/10 of an inch. So the trend is expect more rain tomorrow. There'll be a window somewhere between 11 and maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not totally out of the rain yet, but any bit, just a tiny little bit, could be a problem. So be ready for that coming up tomorrow.
23 missing, an Abilene couple who really only leave their city one time a year to travel to Kerrville. Fox San Antonio's Zach Hedrick spoke with their grandson about them.
So this is where all the tiny homes were, and they're just gone.
This video, sent to us by the Brake family, shows the destruction floodwaters left behind at the HDR campground and RV park in Kerrville.
They don't travel a whole bunch outside of Abilene. They really just had traveled down to Kerrville for the 4th of July to be able to spend the weekend with my uncle.
Ryan Brake's grandparents, Robert Leroy and Joni K. Brake, were visiting Kerrville for the first time.
Huge family people. Huge Notre Dame fans. That was a routine for them, was college football. Last time I was able to talk to them myself was last Thursday on my birthday. I had called them and they had just wished me happy birthday and told me that they had planned on coming down soon.
Brake's grandparents were staying in a cabin at the RV park. Around 4:45 this morning, Ryan got a phone call from his uncle.
The call was very short, but very drastic. He basically stated that he needed help.
Brake says floodwater was already up to the edge of his uncle's RV.
The cabin that my grandparents were staying in were about 20 yards from the RV that they were in. As soon as we got the phone with him, we immediately called my grandparents. After about 3 or 4 phone calls, we were able to get in touch with them and woke them up.
Brake's uncle and his wife were able to get out of their RV and get to safety, but his grandparents are still missing.
The last time we heard from them was about 4:50, about 5 o'clock this morning.
Relatives in the area have been searching nonstop for Brake's grandparents.
I know we are not the only ones going through the situation. We'll continue to spend several days, if not weeks, up there until we can get some kind of answer. Whether it's good or bad, I think we really just want some kind of answer.
Zach Hedrick, Fox SA.
And I do want to say thank you for all the people that have reached out to us and provided information. That's how we got the interview right there that you heard from the grandson of the couple that is still missing, from you watching and reaching out to us online, letting us know the situation and the wide-scale impact in different areas, along with these photos, getting confirmation from families who are wanting to get the word out there. We're putting this out as much as possible to the public. So if these little girls are found, we call authorities as soon as possible so they can get reunited with family.
Yeah, we're wrapping up our coverage here on KBB. We've been wall to wall since 5 o'clock this morning, and everybody has done a fantastic job behind the scenes. Jordan, Brad, and Andrew did a great job this morning as well. Ryan, Ashley stepping in as well. Ashley and I, and Alex and Brad, and Alex and myself and Brad, and everybody who's done a great job throughout the day. We will be back tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. If necessary, we will be on air earlier than that. If there is any news that you need to know, we will be right here. Ashley and I will be here at 7 o'clock, possibly earlier until at least 9 o'clock, but we will also be updating you throughout the night on foxsanantonio.com. So that's where you can find all of the latest information.
Yeah, make sure to be online, as we're going to be updating you throughout the night. And before we leave, I do want to say my heart goes out to all of the families out there that are still waiting for answers. And so we really hope that we can get more information as the night goes on and well into tomorrow. But Our hearts are here with you, our thoughts, our prayers. Same thing with first responders. We commend you for all of your hard work. Thank you.
Yep, and everyone have a safe 4th of July.
Your home is your happy place until you come back to bad odors. Use Febreze Plug-In. It has a microchip that alternates between 2 scents to fight odors and provide freshness for up to 50 days. Try Febreze Plug.
Itch, itch, scratch, must not itch.
Stop the itch sanity with Cortisone 10 for bug bites, poison ivy, and other itches. It works fast and lasts for hours. Cortisone 10. And for no mess relief, try new cooling spray.
Every year, thousands of people are seriously injured in crashes involving large trucks and 18-wheelers. At Thomas J. Henry, we believe that justice should be accessible to all truck accident victims. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop 4th of July savings on Samsung appliances, like the all-in-one washer dryer with super speed, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction.
That was easy.
Get free delivery now at the Home Depot.
This summer, 1 in 4 kids in San Antonio are at risk of hunger, but you can make a game-changing assist.
When you donate to the San Antonio Food Bank this July, your gift will be matched, doubling your impact thanks to Greg Popovich and friends.
Let's team up to serve bright futures together.
Whether you give monetarily or volunteer time, you're helping build a hunger-free summer for kids. And if you need support, no-cost summer meals and groceries are available across our city.
Visit safoodbank.org/summer meals.
It's Champion Windows Anniversary Sale, and we're gifting the presents to you with 40% off Comfort 365 windows. Now's the time to upgrade your old windows that are driving up your energy bills. For over 72 years, Champion has built and installed high-quality windows for our customers, all with a lifetime warranty. With so many styles, colors, and options to choose from, you'll be loving your home all over again. Champion's 40% off Anniversary Sale won't last long. Call 888-4CHAMPION or schedule your free estimate online now.
Severe weather. Fox SA has your back.
Absolutely torrential rainfall.
With a rain, hail, and wind breeze of 1604. Fox SA is on the air and on your feed before anyone else.
If he falls in this water, who knows where that water's going to take him.
Fox SA, first warning weather. Puro San Antonio.
When I think about what has power to change.
And it's, pardon me, 11:44 Eastern Time. We're live from Atlanta with continuing coverage of breaking news and severe weather. You're watching continuing coverage of breaking news and severe weather live from Atlanta here on Channel 1 America and Stormwatch America. The very latest information that we have at this hour. It is 11:45 Eastern Time again, and we understand that the very latest is 24 people are confirmed dead. We have 23 girls that are still missing from that Camp Mystic in the Kerrville, Texas area. This is just northwest of San Antonio. The National Guard has been called out to the area to help with the situation. They're still looking for people at this hour. And this is still an ongoing, very fluid situation. And we're continuing with our coverage now. We're expecting some more rain in this area tomorrow. Hopefully, we're not expecting the catastrophic flooding that occurred today in that area, but they wasn't expecting but 3 to 6 inches of rain in that area, and they had over a foot within 2 hours. That's what's caused this event that occurred today. The National Weather Service didn't even predict this. And what I'm thinking, this may be the remnants of Tropical System Carrie that came into Mexico, came around the backside of Texas, the western side of Texas, and came into central Texas, re-intensified overnight. It started early in the morning, around 1, 2, 3 o'clock local time, and intensified, and a training effect began. A training effect is where thunderstorms begin to develop, is what happened. and it just kept raining. It stalled out and rained over the same area, and just very heavy thunderstorms occurred over that area. And again, they were getting 2 to 3 to 4 inches per hour, and it just occurred an unfortunate perfect storm over that particular area. This is just northwest of San Antonio, and unfortunately, there's still many missing. We do not know the scope of this just yet. This may be a lot worse than what we're reporting right now, because what you don't understand is there are a lot of people from out of town in this area, and they're unaccounted for, people from other cities, other states that are came for the 4th of July to this area to camp. A lot of people were along the Guadalupe River when this occurred, and again, this began in essence just after the 3 o'clock Central Time hour, 3 a.m. this morning, and most people were sleeping tents and whatever, and campers and whatever and what have you along the river, and this wall of water came down through there. All of a sudden, swept everything away. It swept trailers away, mobile homes, RVs, tents were going down the river. People have been found in trees, some dead, some were alive. Black helicopters helped rescue a lot of the people today. There were at least a dozen helicopters in the air, and had at least that many pardon me, drones in the area. So we're going to take a break from our coverage. Our coverage will continue here on Stormwatch America, and we'll be back with you shortly. This is continuing coverage of breaking news and severe weather live on Channel 1 America and Stormwatch America. Please stay with us.